Alright, so this is my week 1 and 2 project. So first I'm going to show it working in the devices first. So this is my phone. Here's the app. Alright, you have a start, accelerometer on the phone. So as I defeat the enemies up top, I get the win. Restart is up here. Come on. And if I die, then I get to lose. And you can restart again. So, on the tablet, bigger device, let me show that working as well. So the app here, start, again, accelerometer on the device. And that's that. So as far as the code, I'm going to dive into the code. Project. First of all, 3 prefabs. I'll start with the bullet code. This is, how do I do this again? So this code here is for the bullets. This is for both the enemy bullet and also the player bullet. 3 floats, destroy time, how long is it going to be destroyed, the direction, whether the bullet is going to go up or down, and the speed of the bullet. So this function here is called by the gun of both the enemy and the player to dictate how fast and the direction of the bullet, and that those variables get put into the move bullet function to translate the bullet up or down, and based on how fast. The gun, like I said, has a the gun has the bullet prefab, the float speed and direction. So at the start is going to shoot the bullet. This is for both the player and the enemy. It's going to invoke the repeating of the shooting by, it's going to start it in 2 seconds, and every 2 seconds it's going to instantiate another bullet from this. It's going to redo this function, shoot bullet, which in this function it is going to use that function and set the parameters of that function to the direction and bullet speed of this of the gun, and it's going to instantiate the bullet prefab at the position of this object, which is the gun. So player movement, very simple, is going to translate based on the input.acceleration on the x-axis times 3 speed times delta time. Enemy movement, this is going to have 3 variables. The range, which is how far left and right the item is going to go from its initial position, which is this trans on the x-axis, and then direction is which way is it actually going to move. So these 2 functions are updating calc direction and move. So in move is going to translate it left and right depending on the direction, and the calc direction is going to dictate whether it's going left or right. So if the initial position plus the range is less than the position that the object is actually at, if it's less than, then it's going to go to the left. It's going to change the direction to go left. And then if the position minus the range is greater than the position that it's actually at, then it's going to go to the right. So player health, this is basically just saying if the collision is an enemy bullet with the tag, then it's going to destroy the bullet and the object. Simple thing there. Game controller, a little bit more complex to actually control the game itself and kind of deal with the UI and the end game conditions. So few variables here as far as UI elements and time scale for pausing of the game. So if the scene is actually the game, then I'm going to have the pause menu active, the win-lose text is not active, and the restart is not active, and the player is going to find the player. Then the load game function is called by the restart. Load home is called by the restart here. The check enemies is checking to see whether all of the enemies are dead. And that's a list. So it's constantly updating that list to see if the list is 0. So at the start, it's going to add all the enemies. And if it spawns, then it'll, if I had a spawner, then it would actually add to the list. But once it gets to 0, then that's when, here at game over, nope, that's not game over. If you win, if the enemy length is equal to 0, then you actually win. Okay, as the player dies, if it's null, then that's when you get the game over and you lose. Pausing of the game, if the time scale is not 0, then I have a pre-time scale. This is just to kind of generalize in the event that I wanted to, add a half time scale or a double time scale for some type of effect or something. So the pre-scale time scale, the pre-time scale is equal to time scale, and you're going to set time scale equal to 0. And then the restart is actually active, so and then you change the pause to resume, and so if it is 0, which means it's already paused, then you set the time scale back to what it was before. Restart is actually the button, it goes away, and the pause goes back to pause. So a little bit more stuff going on here, but just to make the game seem normal. So as far as what we learned this week, material you learned worked great. I did learn about the get ignore more. That worked out pretty good. Finding the Unity get ignore file, and when I pushed it to the repository, it did do the job and removed all the libraries and all those other auto files. So I definitely believe that the stuff that we covered, I'll definitely be using in the future, as far as, the program files and all the features that I'm able to add to the mobile game and then the devices. The framework, I still plan on using Unity. I am going to use Godot for this next week 3 and 4 class or project. I was pretty comfortable with it last time, and so if I find it to be awesome again, then maybe I'll consider using Godot, but as of right now, I do plan on using Unity for my final project.